Well, so we now have to start the discussions on AM Talk. I have here with me Member of Parliament for Whole West and Emmanuel is in the studio. Very good morning to you, sir.
Good morning, Roland.
Okay,
we'll
start the discussions very soon.
Thank you very much.
We had wanted also to speak to the Director for Elections and Research of the MPP, Martin J. Kosa. If we get him on the line, we'll get to speak to him. But we've already gotten him on the line. Very good morning to you, sir. Today is the closing date for the nominations you've opened or the taking of forms, right?
Yes.
Okay, for the national executive positions. Which time exactly will you be closing this very nomination form opening?
Well, it closes today at 5 p.m. And so 10 a.m. we start. We continue with the process. At 5 p.m. we'll bring it to a close.
How many people or personalities have so far taken the forms?
At the close of day yesterday, we had 34.
And then when the nominations close, subsequently, what will be the normal processes you will go through?
Well, it just ends at 5, and from that point, we are expected to receive these forms between the 7th and the 10th of February for filing. And everybody who picks the form has to do the filing by paying the required fees. We have indicated that you pay 5,000 Ghana cedis for the positions of chairman and vice chairman. They pay 5,000, and then all other positions from general secretary, different categories pay 3,000 Ghana cedis.
And it does mean that you have all these funds being returned?
Well, that's the choice of those who pick them. I mean, over the years, there's a practice. People pick the forms, but midway they may change their minds, and so they don't get to bring it back. Others even bring it for filing and will not appear before vetting. Some also come for vetting and do not get successful. And so it all gets settled after the vetting. Those who still remain in the process are those you are dealing with, if you like, as the main contender.
Just like in the past, I know that very familiar with what you political parties undertake. When these forms are collected, we need to have a certain number of signatures. Is the same for this year as well?
Yeah, it's same here. You have one person proposing you for the position that you aspire to occupy, and 10 other seconders who must endorse that proposal. And so that is being done. But this time around, yes, it was 10 for all categories, all positions from the big.
Well, thank you very much. Martin J. Kosa is the MPP's Director of Elections and also in charge of research. And so that will be it for the MPP's updates of their political activities. The collection of nomination forms ends today at 5 p.m. And following that, they are giving up to the close of the 10th of February for those submissions to be made. And within the period also, they're supposed to get the required signatures for those forms to be filled adequately, just to be part of the criteria for acceptance or consideration. And then also they are going to have an interview process or what they call vetting process for the various interested parties who want to contest the various national executive positions. Now, we'll have to return back to the studio and start the discussions with Emmanuel, Member of Parliament for Whole West. It's in the Volta region. And as we start the discussion, so thanks for joining me into the studio.
Thank you, Roland.
On the front page, I believe it's also on the front page of the new Crusading Guide, it says concerns over genetically modified organisms or food swell. And we also have farmers demonstrate against GMOs. Our speaker suspends debate, orders through a thorough discussion. And a story on page 3 basically talks about the legitimate concerns being raised over the controversial Plant Breeders Bill, which, when implemented, will allow for genetically modified foods to be grown in Ghana. Seem to have gained a lot more momentum. And the Speaker of Parliament, Edward Ajaho, on Tuesday suspended all deliberations in Parliament until comprehensive discussions and deliberations were carried out by the leadership of the House. Why this very mood?
Well, Roland, before we come to that, let me wish our Black Star, local Black Star, a successful tournament today.
My
prayer is that they will beat Nigeria and that we'll bring the cup back home. Well, Roland, if you take a census or do a survey in Parliament today about this GMO and the plant-based bill, you will realize that most of our colleagues are even confused about the bill. Why did I say so? Personally, if you ask me, I don't know who is speaking the truth. If you look at the bill, there's nothing like GMO in the bill. But we kept hearing from outside that you have genetically modified in the bill. We have passed a bill called Biosafety Bill or Biosafety Act, which has some element of GMO already. Now, this plant breeders bill is to just protect those who are into the activity. If you are a technician and you come out with a seed or kind of a seed.
Genetically modified.
You can call it genetically modified seed or patampa, that we use in our...
That's not a typical GMO.
Good.
It's not a typical genetically modified.
It is not. But these are the people we want to protect. Scientists who have come up with their own invention, we want to protect them in Ghana. But we kept hearing from outside, so I get confused. I read through the whole bill, and there's nothing like GMO in the bill. So I agree entirely with the Speaker that he should suspend debate on this. I have always maintained the idea that why are we in a hurry? There are so many things that we can look at. There are so many bills that has not yet come to Parliament or that are in Parliament that have not been passed. Let's look at those bills. There's nobody chasing us with this bill. We can look at it, send it back to stakeholders. Let's look at it and bring it back. If stakeholders understand why we need or there's a need for plant-based bill, we'll go ahead to
But is it not the legitimate concern of those who are organizing all these protests that very much so the passing of this very bill, the plant breeders bill into law, then gives impetus to whoever, whether it is even an organization that is located outside Ghana or an individual or organization in Ghana that tends to put onto the market these genetically modified products, then they are giving a lot more protectionism. And these are also put in our statutes legally.
It is, Roland. That is why.
So the concerns are legitimate then, Mr.
They
Mitchell?
are legitimate until they understand the whole process and the whole bill. So I don't know whether all of them, those who are calling for demonstration, have read the bill. But if they have, then it is legitimate that we go and re-engage them. We must engage people. We must engage stakeholders. Let people understand what really this whole bill is all about. If there's a need for us to take it through, the whole country again to explain to people, I believe that that will put matters to rest so that people can have confidence in our lawmaking process and also confidence in the bill or the act when it becomes an act.
Now, take us through the bill. Basically, what are the contents of the bill that makes you think that, well, perhaps those who are demonstrating just seem to be having it all wrong?
I want somebody to come and tell me or tell the whole Parliament that there is a section in the bill that talks about genetically modified seed or genetically modified plant in the bill. Nobody. All the petitions that we have received so far is all about it will lead to GMOs, and that will also lead to health concern in the country. Nobody has come up with anything on the contrary. Now, all that we have in the bill basically is to protect technicians, to protect scientists, to protect people who come out with ideas. Roland, if you are an artisan and you are able to produce something or invent, let's take Apostle Kwakusafo, for instance, the cars that he has manufactured. He needs to go and patent it so that he has his own copyright, so that nobody can go to reproduce them and put his logo or seal on it. Just as I mentioned about Tampa seed, for instance, it was produced in Ghana here. This was developed in Ghana here by our CSIR. But today you go to Brazil and you have a Batampa there. People will produce in a larger quantity and bring it back to Ghana. This is all the bill is about, to protect people and give them support. That if you are able to come out with a seed, you have your patent, you have your right, and that you can also claim copyright on
Well, we know that this legally is having its foundations not only from Ghana, because it's elsewhere in the United Kingdom, etc. But if you look at the concerns of the various groups and what they are raising about this giving a leeway or opening the floodgates for other forms of perhaps whether seedlings or other plants put together in the science laboratory to be brought into the country, into a legal sphere, then their concern should be the right one. And you, as members of parliament, should be very considerate on that subject.
Roland, has somebody spoken about when we're passing the biosafety bill? There was no concern. And that is where we have even the issue of GMO.
That's where you have inherent.
Yeah. So why are people not talking about the biosafety bill? But rather they are talking about, I strongly believe, that's my personal belief, that somebody is just behind us because he has produced so much seed somewhere and he wants to come and dump it in Ghana. That is maybe wrong or right. But, Roland, let us go through the bill. Maybe the next time coming, I'll bring you a bill, the bill of Plant Builders Bill.
Oh, it's on the internet.
Go through it and find out. Just tell me one word or one session that says that we are not protecting the interests of our scientists, but we are introducing GMO. Somebody should tell us. So you could have a legitimate, you could have a concern, but if the concern is not well thought through, then you begin to mislead the whole country. So I perfectly agree with the Speaker that he should suspend this for now until we have a thorough discussion throughout the whole country. Then they can bring it back.
So you feel that these concerns are well misplaced, they are misconstrued?
I won't say they are well misplaced or misconstrued. They also have their grounds which they are standing on. So let's go back to the people. The committee should go back to the people. Those who brought the bill or who are promoting the bill should also go back to the people and explain to them if there are anything in the bill. After all, we are there to look at the interests of this country. If there's anything in the bill, maybe our eyes are not seeing it. They have seen it from outside. If there's anything in the bill that needs to be modified or changed, we are there to do it for the benefit of this country.
Okay, but we still have to remain in Parliament, and well, the Ghanaian Times seems to have the story. MP is hot, and he faces charges of a comment about the Speaker, Efidiasi Asokori, Member of Parliament, Frank Boachi Ajin. And the story just reads, and if I just crave your indulgence to do that, just give you a recap, says that the Member of Parliament is said to have told sections of the media that the Speaker was politically influenced in his ruling on the motion for the House to open investigations into the Merchant Bank Fortis transaction. You all remember that the House was recalled on an emergency as a result of over 80 members of Parliament, especially in the minority, led by Deputy, Minority Leader Dominic Nitterwall, for them to have consideration for that very motion on, well, how the whole transaction of the Fortis Merchant Bank took place and why they think that it needs to be looked at or investigated. And the Speaker came out with a ruling that the issue was still before court, and they thought that it would be perhaps looking at two things differently, whilst the issues were very much correlated. Your subject, your comments on that?
Yes. First of all, I let me say that my colleague, senior colleague for that matter, because he was there before I went there. When I heard the name, initially I thought he was a backbencher or a newcomer who does not know the rules of the House. Therefore, I give the benefit of the doubt that it is a new person who can speak, against the chair. Now, we all know that in Parliament, especially those of us who have been there for more than 2 terms, should know that the chair is revered chair. It doesn't mean that
it's revered.
Revered. We respect the chair.
It's respected.
Or the chair is respected. Now, if you have a concern that the Speaker has not done something right, you have a process to go through.
Which is?
You can call for a motion for us to debate. You can write to the Speaker. You can even go to the Speaker's lobby and have a chat with him, with your concern. Sometimes the Speaker will allow you to bring the concern on the floor of the House. If you think that that concern is not admitted by the Speaker or he's not getting, you can talk to your leadership to bring it before the whole plenary for us to discuss, or a motion. Now, he went to the market, he went, saying all kinds of things about the Speaker, that the Speaker was influenced by external forces during our debate.
What's wrong with his comments?
A lot wrong. You see, the moment you start aligning the Speaker or saying certain things about the Speaker, it means that you are putting the Speaker in a category that any decision that he takes on the floor of the House will be politically motivated.
Are you saying that a member of Parliament can have his opinion at just around the Parliament House?
Yes, I just said that if you have opinion about the chair,
and you are a member of Parliament, you need to go through all these processes you've mentioned.
Why do we have
and these you've stipulated adequately?
Why do we have rules and regulation that guides and an organization? We have rules. You must go by those rules. Yesterday, I was speaking to somebody behind the scene, and one of the things we have realized in Parliament is gross indiscipline. I will mention it here, that we are becoming intolerable and we are becoming indisciplined in the House. I mean, this is a house that we need to be disciplined for people, especially the youth that comes, the children that comes to the gallery to watch us debate. You see all kinds of things being done on the floor of the House. I believe that the speakers must stand his authority and begin to mention names and begin to correct people. So I want to go with Muntaka on this call. Even though he's a senior member of the House, he must be called to book. My colleague must be called to book.
Okay, so in what form is it going into? What are the procedures?
Well,
standing orders?
Yesterday, yes, that was for Muntaka. Somebody must bring this to the attention of leadership. Now, Honorable Muntaka was bringing it, but unfortunately, the first deputy speaker was in the chair, and he said he's not adequate enough to accept. So we should wait till the speaker assumes his seat today. Then Honorable Muntaka can bring it up. So we are waiting for today.
Okay, so everything rests in the bosom of the speaker.
Of course.
So the speaker can decide to say, well, this is just a
matter
of little consequence.
Then he can throw it away. If he thinks that it concerns the House and affects conduct in the House, then he will take it up. For me, I think that we are degenerating into something else. Quite recently, one of our old, who later on apologized anyway, Kitty Amon, also, was an eyesore. I think we should tone down.
Well, for the member of Parliament for Adansi Asokwa, specifically, he had withdrawn the statement later on, right?
Yep. Then apologized.
Okay, so
what I'm saying is that
this very gentleman,
he did not speak on the floor of the House. He went outside. As a member of a house,
you're not supposed to do that.
If you have a problem with your father in the house, what do? Do you go outside telling people? Good. Then it means you have a problem with your father. Go and meet with your father or adults in the house and let them resolve the issue. You don't go saying things that you don't have any. You don't have any something to substantiate it. If you have any evidence to prove that all you are saying is right, then go ahead. But you don't have anything to prove.
Okay. Why lies the veracity of that very criticism in truth about the fact that the speaker is now, if he takes on this very matter, is degenerating into the abyss of politicking?
That is why
because this is pure politics. So you just have to let tempers fly and let bygones be bygones.
Well, he's a speaker. I have aired my view.
Well, he's been a member of Parliament in long standing.
That was in the past. Now he's the speaker. And as soon as you assume that seat,
so all those should guide him when he's taking his decisions as the Speaker of Ghana's Parliament.
I agree. But as soon as you assume that seat, it is assumed that you take off all your political clothes and be very, very. When you are taking the decision, you should not be partial.
If you are in the stead of the minority, and especially for this very gentleman, Frank Obwache Ajin, do you think that what he said was way out of the imagination, and it could have been replicated even by your side if you were in opposition?
Roland, you work with Multi TV. Or Joy TV now, if the head of this institution has wronged you as a person or has wronged workers, what is the right thing to do? You have rules that governs this place. You must go by those rules. Now, if you don't go by those rules and you go against the rules, the sanction must be applied. That is all that we are saying.
Right. I get your concern. What other concerns are also being raised by some by sides of the House? Because yesterday I heard Honorable Muntaka claim that even some members of the minority thought that the gentleman, the Honorable Member of Parliament for Ifidiasia Sokori, had not done well or obeyed the rules of the House.
Roland, all we are saying is to protect the chair. That's all we are saying.
What sort of protection?
The Right Honorable Speaker Ajaho will not be the Speaker forever. Anything at all can change. I mean, we are in this country, parties comes, parties go. Tomorrow it will be the turn of NPP. If I go to town, in case NPP is in power and they have a speaker from their side, and I go to town on him, are we protecting the chair? That's all we are saying. Let us have our rules working in the House. If it is wrong, it is wrong. We don't say because I belong to this party or I belong to this side, so if it is wrong, I'll call it that, I'll say that it is right. I believe that's what Muntaka was referring to, that people from their side are also not happy with the comment that he made. Otherwise, people would have been supporting him. Why are colleagues not supporting him? You say it. So it means that what he did was wrong. I think he should come and just apologize to the Speaker and let matters lie. Okay.
So, as far as issues of the House are concerned, we have to move on to the next. And this time, we have to look at the economy. There's a story on the front page of the Economic Times, just in relation. It says, Automatic Adjustment Program threatens government's inflation target. It says, government's Automatic Adjustment Program for fuel and utilities may threaten some of the microeconomic indicators set in the 2014 budget. Already, analysts are projecting high inflation rate for 2014, and it's also because fuel prices, just because of the Automatic Adjustment Program or formula, seems to be receiving some level of increment as and when prices on the international market also dip or go up. Now, how true is this, and can we likely see some of these effects? Because you are a member of Parliament, you had a couple of your constituency members, and they should be having concerns about increased increment in fuel, etc.
Roland, we are all having concern, including myself.
You have?
Yes, I have.
You're a member of Parliament.
Yes,
you're not supposed to be having difficulties.
Why? I'm just a normal human being like you, Roland. I don't buy from different market. I buy from the same market. Just like you, my salary has not been increased, even though items have been increased. And there's so much pressure on you when you get to the constituency and other places to perform your duty as a member of Parliament. The concern raised by various economists are in the right place. But I still want to blame the successive government. We have not done ourselves well or good in this country, where we need to deregulate most of these petroleum prices. We did not do that from the beginning or from the creation of this nation. We have had the opportunity to do it. We've not done it. We continue to support the petroleum product that comes to the market with the small taxes that we collect from people, and then we allow the price to go up, and then once in a while we come back to say, okay, we are reducing it, or we are supporting it, or we are increasing it. I mean, time has come now for us. If we really want to develop as a nation, I believe it's time for us to deregulate the petroleum prices. Let us remove all the things that we thought would be social protection that will make people, to increase inflation or increase whatever it is, prices in the market. Let us remove those things so that we can have the true value for fuel. If fuel is supposed to cost us so much, let's do it. Then we can have social net protection. We can, in abroad, you have a true value, but they have social net protection. They have things that that you can protect those who are not in that bracket, who cannot afford. You cushion them with certain facilities that will make them, that will not be too, will not have too much effect on them. These are the things that we should be looking at. Than to say that, well, let's cushion it. Let's government put some money there and prevent the increase of prices of petroleum product. Yes, somebody will argue that we are now oil producing country and we market oil in Ghana, but the truth of the matter is that we produce oil in this country, but we export them. We don't consume all the oils that we produce. We also import oil in this country, and even if we are producing and consuming that oil in the country, you must also sell it at the international market price, so that you can have the same revenue that you want to generate from the oil production or from the sales of oil. So we have not done well as a nation. We should have deregulated these petroleum prices long ago. It should not be now that we are struggling with it and people don't understand why.
So in other words, you're saying consumers ultimately would always have to be paying realistic prices.
That's what we should have done long ago, not today. So I believe that yes, we can go ahead.
There are some peculiar circumstances. For example, in an election year, these are thrown away. As far as we're concerned, automatic adjustment formulas are usually not adhered to. So if that is precedent, it mutes your argument.
Yes, it mutes my argument in the sense that we read politics into so many things. Why should it be during the election year that you have petroleum prices not going up? This time round, let us allow it, what we call the market forces, to come to play. Demand and supply. How much is it that we are supposed to be for sale? Let's go ahead and sell it at that price. Then, closing the gap, government will go and take money from somewhere. Instead of that money should be used for development, we are using it to support petroleum product. It is not the best. It's not helping the growth and development of this country.
But that also ultimately has a rippling effect on prices on the markets.
Of course.
Transport fares.
Of course.
Etc.
Now, transport fare has gone up about 20% already, and I know it's difficult for people. So government should come out with social protection net, things that will support those who cannot afford. If it is children who are going to school, I believe that policy is there already, that the Metro Mass buses will pick them to school for free. If you are the aged over 60 years and you are not working, the Metro Mass supposed to, those policies are there. I don't know whether it's for free or at a reduced price. Just like any other developed country, we are developing, Roland. We must develop, and we must continue to do the right thing.
So we might take the risks that come with being a lower middle income status country.
Of course.
But talking about the economy and the finance minister's picture being represented, the governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Henry Kofi Wampa, has been making an announcement over the last few hours about the policy of now introducing the yuan as part of the exchange rates in the currencies that are also used in that very sector. Because Ghana has a hard trading partnership with China. And because of that, they'll feel that traders who are going to China would need to get the yuan exchange here instead of just using the dollar, get into China before they do the exchange.
Yes, Zola, last 2 years ago, I was in China, and that was when Nigeria adopted or accepted that they were going to use the yuan as part of their exchange, medium of exchange, to support the economy, because they have large volume of trading with China. I don't see anything wrong with it. It is true that China is doing a lot of business in Ghana. You see a lot of Chinese products in the market. You see a lot of, it's not only in dollar terms. We don't go to American. We don't only go to America, nor do we go to only Europe. We go to China as well. So I think it is in the right direction. It's even long overdue. Like I said, about 2 or 3 years ago, Nigeria has adopted it, and the Europeans were not happy with Nigerians, but they've gone ahead to do it. So I don't see why Dr. Wampa could not do that. He should go ahead and do it.
But that also has an implication, as far as we're concerned, on the use of the U.S. currency in trading elsewhere, just beyond the borders of Ghana.
We are not saying that will be the yuan is going to be the last. No, we are saying we are adding it to other currencies. Just like in Europe, we have euro, In the UK, we have the pound, and in the US, we have the dollars. We're just adding the yuan to it. That's all.
Well, the last subject we'll be looking at is the issue of the demolition at Ajay-Kwejo, and we're saying, according to the Searchlight, Minister insults Ajay-Kwejo victims, they lack discipline. Let me just tell you what really the minister said. He says, Minister okays Tema demolition. We're talking about the Daily Guide, and the story on the page 3 of the paper basically just states emphatically that the Minister of Lands and Natural Resources, Alhaji Nusa Hussaini, has thrown his weight behind the demolition exercise by the TDC in the area. He says the indiscipline in land administration must be brought to an end. Let's try as a country to do things properly. If you build your house and someone walks in and occupies a room in your house, does that fellow become the owner of that room? Talking about how the land legally was acquired for government by Ghana's first government, so to speak, led by Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. And so it's a state land, but had been encroached upon and all the things. Do you also support that? Because the talk has been that the exercise was not undertaken with a human face.
I agree that the exercise has not been undertaken with a human face. In fact, when I was in my concert, when I heard this, I nearly wept. Because I saw a lot of people being, I won't say evicted, a lot of people...
I actually live close to there when you see some of the investment that people have made on the land.
Roland, that was inhuman. For me, I won't say because I belong to the party that's in power. It's inhuman. It cannot be done anyway. If somebody has encroached on another person's property, land, let's go into the matter. What is TDC there for? You are there to build houses. Roland, and I don't want to discuss. I'm so emotional about this.
About this one. Because these are people's life saving.
People's life saving.
Yeah.
Are we saying that those people should move to where? To only God knows where they'll be sleeping that night? Don't you have feelings for people? It is bad in the taste. Nobody should have encouraged TDC to do that. I belong to the Western Housing Committee. I called my chairman that day. I said, I'm going to the market. I want to call the press and tell them that they should stop what they are doing. Let's call the Minister of Western Housing.
But you did not.
I tried calling your station, maybe because I was in the village.
No, but you did not.
No, I didn't do that. But I'm saying it now.
Once you didn't make the effort, you didn't make the effort.
So I'm saying it now. It is the Baptist. We shouldn't have done that in the first place. Look at somebody who just came from work, only to realize that his house has been raised down. He was not asked to remove his things. You destroy a whole investment. It is bad. Now, if TDC claims that the land is for them, and I don't have any fact to anything in the contrary, but if the land is for TDC, TDC is supposed to plan and build houses. What is wrong if you renegotiate with the people and plan their houses in your order so that you can have a spatial planning that incorporates those who already have built houses there? You understand? That demolishing a whole township, demolishing a whole house. Roland, I think something must be done. The two ministers, that's the Minister of Lands and Natural Resources, yes, and the Minister of Western Housing.
They have come in to support the exercise. And emphatically saying that, claiming that those who had supposedly encroached, they were indisciplined. That talks about a lack of empathy on the part of people who are in appointing authority.
Well, I won't say that. You are saying that. I won't say that. They also have reason why they are saying that. I'm telling you on moral and humanitarian.
You're trying to dodge the subject, is that not?
I'm not dodging
because
the subject.
Here lies a case as far as double standards issues are concerned. You're supporting the fact that they are not supposed to have demolished the way they did, but you don't want to.
So why do you
don't want to agree that the minister was not empathetic?
Roland, what do you want me to say that the minister was not empathetic?
Well, I'm pushing you to the wall to say something.
And
I'm not saying it.
I'm not saying that they are somewhere, they believe in what they are doing. They have their reasons.
Who?
The two ministers who are supporting the demolition have their reasons. And I'm saying that mine, on the moral grounds and on the grounds that people have invested, it is not right. Sit down with them, because they also have claims that they have bought the land legitimately from the rightful owners. So why don't you sit down, the two parties sit down, let's come up with, amicable solution to this problem, so that people's investment, people who have invested so much, if that place were my place, maybe I'd have even removed my gun and start shooting people.
Yeah.
Because
There are people. I know. I live close to the place, and I know people who have collapsed. I think a couple of one or two.
So are we protecting the interests of people?
There's a pensioner whose story is even more pathetic.
So Roland, you see, we should not. Well, there's a saying that if you live in a glass house, don't throw stone.
You live in a illegal acquired land. On an illegal acquired land.
I'm not talking about illegally acquired land. If indeed they are living on illegally acquired land, why don't you sit with them? I've explained myself that TDC is supposed to develop properties and sell. And if the land has been acquired by the state for them, and you are supposed to develop, sell houses, build houses and sell, or develop properties, what is wrong if you incorporate those houses into your scheme? There's nothing wrong with that. Sit down with the people. You have acquired this property illegally, but I'm coming with you. I'm coming to sit down with you. Show me in the first place, some of them have permit. Who gave them the permit?
TDC.
It's not the same TDC. So there's something definitely wrong. I think that people should take them to court.
Okay. The NDC executives in the Tama West constituency have come out to say that the action by the TDC had made their government very much unpopular. Is that true?
Well, I don't live in that area, so if they are saying so, then it is true.
They said it's created a bizarre atmosphere of creating the impression that your government is insensitive.
Well, I don't live in that area, but I'm even telling you my feeling. What I saw on the television, I did not like it at all. And nobody should, agree with this thing that we should go
party
ahead.
Member or not. So you're saying it's not a political party thing, right?
It's not a political party thing.
It's just that
TDC doesn't belong to NDC.
It's just an institution decided to undertake its policy, but
TDC is
but
not
you
an
feel
NDC.
that it was not undertaken with
and somebody should call them to order. Honestly.
Well, we'll see how that goes. They are appointing authority. I always say that the law was made by man, not that the law was made for man. So, you can always change things all the time. I don't see a hard and fast rule about it. I've had in the studio for AM Talk, live on the AM show, which is also on the Joynews channel of Multi TV. Emmanuel Kibedra is a member of Parliament for Whole West and also a member of the NDC. Thanks for joining us this morning. It's always a pleasure to speak to you. That'll be it for AM Talk. Please get interactive as always. We have the social network page on Facebook. Please search for Joynews on TV on Facebook and also use the short code and give us a lot more messages. The short code is 1760. We're taking a short break. When we come back, we have a lot more for you on AM Show.